A look back to Victorian times and unwrap some classic Christmas collectibles which could have found their way into the stockings of yesteryear, but I bet you would still treasure them today. Here she is with her sack of treasures. Will you please welcome antiques expert Catherine Higgins. Hi, Catherine.
Hello, Gloria.
And actually, I think we should make it very clear. I mean, of course, we know that it goes right back with presents to the birth of Jesus and everything with gold, frankincense and myrrh. But when we talk about Christmases within, say, our recollection, how much do we have to thank the Victorians?
I mean, an awful lot. We thank them for everything they've given us, really, the traditions that we have today, the Christmas tree, Christmas cards, all our sort of activities that we have at the festive season is really thanks to the Victorians.
The cards, I think, are splendid. Now, did they
yes.
really treasure them, or was a lot of emphasis, in other words, put on cards?
Well, cards is very much where Christmas began, I suppose, traditionally, and it wasn't really until the penny post, and then 1843 was the very first Christmas card that was sent, and same year as A Christmas Carol by Dickens was published. So it all sort of went together, this sort of nostalgic, but also very benevolent Christmas that the Victorians created. And they were cherished, and they were beautifully made. I mean, I think
Look at this. This is like a little book, really.
It is. It's absolutely
I love these images.
Charming. And the colour pictures, of course, chromolithographic printing, which was a very, very strong type of mechanical type of printing in colour, had just come out, and it really was. You can see here how traditionally the tree was.
Yes, I love the images.
Yes, I mean, it very, very nice, and you know, they were beautiful. They were quite expensive at the time, and the more detailed they are, the more expensive they were as well.
Look at this little one, just it's like a single
lovely.
card.
And
yes,
like if you touch it, it's actually got the fabric that a little girl would have been wearing in those days. So I think it's totally charming. And then
this one?
More complicated.
What do you do that? I'm afraid they're so fragile.
It's almost like a three-dimensional card. You can sort of pull it, and you get a sense of the depth of the scene there. It's beautifully, beautifully made. And that would have been really, I mean, for an elegant household, this would have been the present. And
of course, that's the point. You talk about an elegant household. I mean, I assume that there was for the wealthy, the rich, and then the rest for Christmas. Because, I mean, in all our lifetimes, really, we can go back to just an apple and orange, you know, a coin and a few sweets if you were lucky. So not everybody had these lavish Christmases.
Yes, I always get a satsuma at the bottom of my stocking, and things haven't really changed in many ways. If you didn't have, obviously, a lot of money, you could still buy a flat card. Something like one of these would have been the sort of less noble kind of card that you would have received.
I love these Christmas annuals. I remember getting annuals myself.
Annuals, of course, it was again a Victorian tradition. I mean, they really came alive in the 19th century. The first annual, I think, was sent in about 1816, but it's really, this is a Nister annual, and if you have one of those today, that's worth sort of close to £100. And some of these cards, incidentally, can be worth as much as sort of £120 just for a single card.
So any of those at home, hang on to them.
Absolutely,
We've got a lot to show, so let's quickly race around them.
Yes.
This Father Christmas is yours, actually.
He is mine. He's been passed through the generations of my family, and sadly his boots have become detached in his old age.
So he would have been standing in the boots. He
would have been standing in the boots. He is nearly 100 years old now, turn of the century, and I love him because he's got this wonderful, you know, rabbit fur beard.
How much is he worth now?
Probably close to a couple of £100 now, even in that dishevelled condition. But
and look at these sweet little, I think they were called snow babies.
Snow babies, yes. If you've got them at home, hang on to them and stop using them on your Christmas cakes, because that is how most people remember them on the top of a Christmas cake. Little tiny bisque figures that were brought out really to commemorate the you know, our exploration in the North and South Poles in around about 1910.
So how much from what to what?
They can range from about £20 and they can go up to about £1,000.
Wow. Now the Christmas tree, so we have to thank Queen Victoria and Albert really for
this. Very much so. They gave us the big Christmas trees that we know today, but as a child in the Victorian era you would have had one for each child, and it would have been a small one like this and presented quite high, and you wouldn't have had your presents wrapped up. They would have been displayed in front of the tree.
So you gave each child a tree, as you say, with all the presents around it.
Yes, so there's pictures of Victoria and Albert at Windsor Castle, you know, with their individual trees.
Actually, it brings us down to decorations. Now I can remember my mum having decorations like this. So are they worth quite a lot of money now?
Yes, if you've got any decorations, really, from the late 19th century, when, of course, Lauscher in Germany made these wonderful blown bauble decorations, right through to the 1920s and 1930s, and then, of course, 1950s decorations, all very desirable desirable
You know,
today.
I bet you lots of people have these in their attic, or maybe even still use some of them on their tree today.
Well, I'd love them to tell me about them, because I'd love them too. They can be quite valuable. They can range anything from sort of £2 or £3 right up to maybe £50 for a single bauble if it's very early.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's very
Now,
charged.
crackers. Again, you can see this is a beautiful
We're
box.
crackers about crackers. Really, we're crackers about crackers because this has never been used. I mean, the fact that this has still survived in its box in pristine condition from the 1920s is exceptional, really. A collector who would buy it, of course, would have to keep it like that. It's still got the original string that's tying all the crackers in.
I do remember, actually, that with my mum and dad, they used to put crackers on the tree as decoration and then save them until the next year, but the box was obviously never saved.
Yes,
so.
it's the combination of they've never been out of the box, they're in mint condition, and you know the box is still there.
And worth?
About £150 for that set, and they may just be. I mean, they're paper, and we'll never know what's inside them. We'll never be able to pull them.
Too expensive. Now let's look at this incredible teddy. Because toys like this fetch a lot of money.
Yes, these are all... he's coming up for sale next week at Bonham's, and I think we'll watch him go as far as... I mean, it could be as much as £3,000 he'll fetch at auction.
And why are they so collectible now?
People love them, really, because of the nostalgia thing. Teddy bears really were invented at the turn of the century. 1903 was the first jointed teddy bear. And he's just such a character, and they don't make them like that anymore in many ways.
What's the most expensive you've seen in terms of a bear?
Well, I've held a bear like this, and he sold for £110,000. So
I can't believe it, 110,000. Not in the stocking this Christmas, it won't be. And a final word just about, we've only got a few seconds left on the programme.
Yes.
The horse would be worth how much now?
He's about £200 now, and dates again from the turn of the century period.
So he's been changed from a pull-along to a rocker?
He was once a pull-along, and he's now a lovely rocking horse, and I'd love to take him home with me.
Yeah, fabulous. Thank you so much for bringing them in. Thanks a lot.
Gloria. Thank you.